Okay, top 10.
Yeah, top 10 for the year. 2020. So 2020 in retrospect. How many books have you read for the year?
74.
74. Okay, I did 36, which is good, you know.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot of fucking books, man.
Yeah, I mean, some of them, actually a lot of them were audio, probably a little over half.
You still did them though, that's good. That's
and in audio, I usually do like 1.5 to 2 speed. So
oh yeah. So you sped it up. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, so do you have like your top 10?
Yes.
Okay, you want to go first? And,
Sure.
do you have like ratings for them? Or are you just going to go through them and say, hey, I like this book, I like this thing about it, or...
Okay, so I'm pretty sure the first 5, I gave them all 10 out of 10s, and then the rest, I believe, are 9s. My number 1 book of the year, or actually series.
Yeah.
So, I should start with... I've just kept it to 1 book per series, but I'm talking about the rest of the series. Otherwise, like, half of this would be Draenei.
Okay,
David Gemmell. So number 1 was Faithful and the Fallen, specifically Valor, the second book. I just think they're perfect.
Who's it by?
John Gwynne.
John Gwynne. Oh, okay.
So Malice is
Malice,
the
Malice series, okay.
Malice I loved, absolutely nothing wrong with it, but Valor was just like, the stakes were even higher and like all this shit has happened. Amazing action, story, characters. Yeah, I just
Cool.
think it's absolutely perfect. I can't think of a single thing wrong with it.
Nice. Next one.
Gates of Fire, which I won't say too much about because we have a video, so just refer to that, but I think it's a masterpiece of leadership.
Cool.
Number 3 is the Draenei series, specifically The Legend of Deathwalker, although I loved Waylander 2, the First Chronicles of Drussa Legend and Winter Warriors, but The Legend of Deathwalker nearly made me cry. It was so fucking tragic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Is it a one-shot book, that one?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's Druss when he's like 30.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. It just it nearly broke me with what happens.
Is that what happens before Legend? It's just before
Yes.
Legend?
So
Oh,
Legend is when he's like 60 something.
So this is when he goes and gets his wife or whatever.
No, that was the one before.
Oh, okay.
So that one is the First Chronicles of Drussa Legend. It starts with him in his late teens and his wife is kidnapped. It takes him 7 years to get her back. And then it skips ahead in that same book to when he's like in his 40s, I think. And then there's this battle that ties up that arc. So this one is set in between that book.
Oh, okay.
And it has its own arc.
Yeah.
And it was just that could be a video on its own. It was just amazing.
Okay, cool.
Number 4, Republic of Thieves. We have a video on that, so I won't talk about that. Amazing. 10 out of 10 as well. Number 5, A Little Hatred. Same again. I won't say too much about that. One highlight I still think about is the scene between Leo and Stour when they fought that battle and they're like on opposite ends of the bridge.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
rain, and they're like calling each other out.
Yeah.
Fucking incredible.
That was good. That was really good.
Yeah. Number 6 was the second book in the Old Man's War series.
Have you done Trouble with Peace?
No.
Oh, okay, right.
The Ghost Brigades, I think. Yeah, that's the name of it. So I loved Old Man's War, but the second one I think is better because it has the charm of Old Man's War, but kind of makes you think a bit more. Basically, it's... Have you read the first one?
No, I haven't. No, I'll have to get into it.
Basically, it follows this guy, and he has another person's consciousness put in him, but then he forms it because they're like they got this copy of this trader's consciousness, and they
Oh,
want
right.
to learn what he knows or something. So they put his consciousness in this body, but the body also has its own consciousness. So it's like this whole thing of like identity. Who is he really? Because he has these memories of this guy who had a kid. And he sees the kid and he's like
Oh,
all
okay.
weird about it. Yeah. It's
Oh,
good.
weird. Okay, well, maybe I have to check that one out.
Yeah. I've only read the first 3, but they've all been very good.
Old Man's War.
Yep.
Right.
Is it John Scalzi?
I've heard good things from the guy. He did Red Shirts or something as well, eh?
I believe so, yeah. Number 7 was The Grey Bastards, which I just read. I was quite surprised at how good it was. It was like Sons of Anarchy, but they're half orcs who ride warthogs or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's right. What was it called, sorry?
The Grey Bastards.
The Grey Bastards.
Yeah, so there's a lot of gang culture, and yeah, I just thought it was really good. There's not like too much to it, but there's some cool moments, and yeah, it was just overall solid.
Oh, cool, yeah, I might have to check that one out too. I remember you telling me about it.
Yeah. Number 8, Harry Hole, specifically Nemesis. It's a follow-up from the Redbreast, and there's, I don't want to spoil it, but there's some shit that goes down, and like some people die, and it's like the fallout from that. Harry's drinking again, he's a fucking mess, and then there's like this bank robbery going on. It's really good.
Wow.
And number 9, Bobiverse video.
Yep.
Great. And number 10 is Child 44, which was another surprise for me.
What was that?
So this follows a detective called Leo Demidov in 1950s Russia.
Oh, okay.
And so this is like right in the communist period, right before, like when Stalin is still in power, when it begins. And it's kind of got some Harry Hole vibes, but it's not like a carbon copy or anything. But he has this conflict of like doing what he's told is the right thing to do, like arrest these people because they're talking shit about the party or whatever,
Yeah.
versus what he thinks is actually the right thing. So like it starts off with him like being what do you call it? Like he's just fully into this is what we're supposed to do. This is the right thing to do.
Oh, so they're going
And then-
along with the Russian party, like the communism thing, and then finding out that's maybe not so right.
Yeah, and he arrests this guy who he finds out is definitely innocent, but everyone's saying he's guilty.
Oh, okay.
And there's this really cool scene where he takes meth because he has to capture this guy, otherwise he's fucked. And he's like chasing him through the snowy forest, and the guy like tries to kill himself because he doesn't want to get arrested because he knows it's going to be a bad time.
Yeah.
So he throws himself in this icy river, and the main character Leo is like hyped up on meth and just jumps in and grabs him and nearly dies himself, and then it was fucking cool.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I have some honourable mentions.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
I'll go through these quick. The Legend of Drizzt.
Yep. The D&D.
Yep. Great, just light fantasy. The Poet by Michael Connolly. That was really cool. It's following this journalist whose twin brother, who's a cop, was killed by a serial killer, and he's like going along trying to solve the murder.
Oh, okay.
Everyone thinks he killed himself, like it looks like a suicide, but he knows
His brother
wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
The Stand, just a masterpiece. The Terminal List by Jack Carr. It's replaced Victor the Assassin for me. It's just like super tactical.
Who's
Fine
Jack Carr?
and
That sounds like familiar.
He's a former Marine who's now an author.
Oh, okay.
It's Jack Carr.
So, sorry, the Terminalist. Yeah, he's he's an action guy. Like, what does he do?
He's the character's a former Marine as well.
Oh, okay.
And there's like this conspiracy going on with like this drug trial or something. Like he has a tumor in his head, and he's like, then his wife and family are murdered, and like he was supposed to die in this thing in the Middle East, but he survived.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
So there's a conspiracy.
Yeah. Wolf of Wessex by is it Matthew Harvey. Just awesome standalone historical novel. It's like this grizzled old English warrior who comes across this girl who has been chased by people. Yeah.
Cool.
Rift War, Magician in Silverthorn.
Yep.
Great. Hasting the Avenger by C.J. Adrian. This is like a palette cleanser, similar to like
Driz.
yeah. So it's basically just right in the middle of Viking Age. It's great. Not too long. They're like 10 hours a piece. Dune. That was great. I won't say too much because there's a video for that doesn't exist yet. Outlaw, specifically the Iron Castle. That's the one where there's that book-long siege. I thought that was great.
I thought that the first Outlaw was good. The first Outlaw, just Outlaw or whatever.
Yeah. I
And
think my favourite's Holy Warrior.
second one?
Yeah.
Yeah, same here actually. That was good.
Great Coats by Sebastian de Castell. I thought those were amazing.
Was that the Trader's Blade?
And even more so Night Shadow, I thought that was better.
Did you do all those books?
No, just the first two so far.
Oh, okay.
And I probably would have had Kings of Paradise on here if I had finished it. But I'm in like halfway through it.
Oh, okay.
But it's very good. And that's me.
Cool. Sweet, man. That's a lot of books, actually. Look at what I got. For my number one, I did Going Solo, which is a autobiography by Roald Dahl. It's about him being a fighter pilot.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. It was cool. It was cool to see his style of writing in more of an adult sort of theme. There's some really like hard situations that he gets forced into. He gets forced into defending all of like Italy in aerial combat, and there's like maybe 3 or 4 other pilots, and one of them's like an Earl of London.
Okay.
And it's about him and this like Earl who are his best mates, and they live in like squalor, but they're like basically the only thing keeping back the Nazi tide from destroying everything. It's pretty cool. Then we got The Trouble with Peace is number 2 for me.
Oh, so you finished it.
Oh no, sorry.
A Little Hatred.
A Little Hatred. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, okay.
A Little Hatred. No, I didn't finish The Trouble with Peace. Yeah, I'm like into it though. I'm halfway through it. That's probably why I wrote it down. Yeah, I thought that was really good. The Troop was actually like a huge surprise to me, so that's on number 3 for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a huge surprise. I didn't really want to read it, and then and then when we got into it, I enjoyed it. Blowing the Bloody Doors Off, which is another autobiography. It's Michael Caine's autobiography. I thought it was really cool. It was just like a fun thing about basically your craft as an artist and working really hard and trying to stay positive and try and take those opportunities that come. It was a really interesting book with a lot of different anecdotes and stuff, which is cool. I was surprised at how many autobiographies I'd done this year. It's crazy.
Okay.
Then the 5th one is Life's Too Short to Cry, which is also a World War II fighter pilot.
Okay.
And this is an autobiography as well by a guy called Tim Vigors, and he fought in the Battle of Britain, and then he was transferred to the Pacific, and he fought in the Pacific War where he got shot down in the Philippines, and then he's like sort of telling the story backwards.
Okay.
It's really cool. Yeah, it's really cool. Just good. Just a really good book. Like lots of interesting things, and there's little points in it where he brings it back to the title all the time. It's like, my girlfriend left me. Life's too short to cry. It's like I had 3 girlfriends. They all left me. Life's too short to cry. It's like when he was a kid, he was into hunting, doing the fox hunting, because he was like sort of a little bit like well off, and it was like the family business to actually do fox hunting, or like lead fox hunting or something. So they were getting money from like the lords and stuff like that. And one year he gets thrown off his horse, and the horse kicks him in the face, and like knocks out all his teeth.
Fuck.
And it like he has to live with the sort of ramifications of that for the rest of his life. And it's like he doesn't make him ugly. It just means that he's like lost a couple of teeth in the front, or like cracked a couple of teeth, and it's like constantly reminding yourself to keep going, because everything is like situational. There's always a bigger picture to life, and even if you die in war, the bigger picture is, hey, you know, the world's got to continue. And even to the situation where his first kill, like he kills another pilot, and he says, "Oh my god, I've just killed someone," and he's like, "But they were trying to kill me as well. Not only that, like I'm trying to liberate the world.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't do it, he would have killed me, and that would have been something terrible." Yeah, so that's interesting.
Nice.
Then I did a book called Private Peaceful. That's my number 6, and it's about a World War One soldier. It's kind of a bit of a romance. Once these two brothers who grow up on a lord's estate back in the 1910s, I think it is, and they have a handicapped brother, and they go to school with this girl, and the girl's parents work for the lord on this estate, and they're all like sort of poor kids, and they're all growing up together with this like Down syndrome brother, and like it turns out that the two brothers end up falling in love with this one girl,
right?
And then when war happens, World War One, they have to go off and fight World War One, and there's like weird almost skirmish over like the woman's affections while they're in war, and it's a weird thing where the main character realizes he's doing the wrong thing. And he's like, "Oh look, I've got to do anything to get my brother back to his wife," and it's like figuring out that the right thing is not always the thing that you want to do. Like the thing you want to do is sometimes the wrong thing.
Right.
Yeah. So like your absolute desire is probably sometimes the wrong thing to do. And it was interesting. It was really good, and it also showed you like some different things about the time as well. Like the Lord, who they lived on the land they were servants to. They had weird laws back in those days where if you went fishing in the stream, you caught a fish, that fish belonged to the Lord, and if you ate it, it was theft.
Yeah, kind of like the deer in the forest, right?
Yeah, deer in the forest, or Robin Hood. Yeah, so it was weird, interesting though. Number 7 for me was Gates of Fire.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I can't remember what I gave it. There's a video on it, but
7.
Yeah, I think I gave it a 7.
8,
but damn good. It was like damn good. Like when you think about what you did for the year and you write it all down, definitely an outstanding piece.
Yeah.
Like
I'll probably reread it next year sometime.
Number 8. I'm not sure if it should be on here, but I did enjoy it.
Okay.
So I don't know why it's on here. Blood's Campaign is the Angus Donald book.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it, but I'm wondering whether I enjoyed it because of all the other stuff that was going on at the time. Like we're in lockdown. It was like I was watching a lot of Poldark, and I was watching a lot of like weird like.
It's similar kind of setting. Right?
Yeah, similar setting and stuff. And I just done some of Sharp stuff. Like I've watched Sharp, and I thought it was really cool, and I really enjoyed it. But looking back, like there was nothing outstanding about the book, but I really enjoyed it. You know, like actually some of it was a little bit starchy. Like some of the character was a bit starchy. Like there were moral things that the character did that made you not like him.
Okay.
And he did things over honor rather than for the right reasons and stuff. But then there was redeeming things about the character as well. So I don't know. Then Republic of Thieves is number 9. Got a video on that. It was fucking fantastic. And number 10 was a random book that I just picked up. Zombie book. The random zombie book that I like to do. It's called Gathering Dead. I can't remember who it's from. I think it might have been from Stephen Knight.
Okay.
Just really random. It was a bunch of Marines. They fight off the dead, and I don't even know if they survived or not. It was just a fantastic romp. But
Okay.
yeah, I'll have a look at my other books I've done. Oh, Musketeers was cool. Musketeers was like an honorable mention. Ready Player 2 was an honorable mention.
Okay.
I really liked that, but it was just more of the same stuff. What else? Those are some of the ones that we did for the thing, I think. What's a face for the what's a face? Oh, here we go. Great Gatsby was good. I did the. Oh no! What else was a really good book? The Death of Robin Hood. I think I did that at the start of the year.
Oh yeah.
That was really good. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like it rounded out the series. But
yeah. Overall I enjoyed that. The ending was pretty depressing.
yeah, it was sad. But I don't know. I feel like when you read a series and you're sad that it's ended,
Yeah.
you're mourning for that another book.
There's a reaction to it.
That's
indifferent is probably the worst reaction.
yeah. That was really good. I did Narnia as well. I did the first 2 or 3 books of Narnia.
Okay.
Narnia stuff. I thought those were cool. They're only like 5 hours long on Audible or whatever. Probably could have picked up the books, but I just wanted to know what they were sort of about. The first one's good, but I think everyone's seen the movie or whatever. But the second one's interesting. It's good to see characters evolve. Like you have the Harry Potter series, and like they grow up and they become darker and darker and darker as the books go on. That sort of happens in Narnia as well. I think that there's like a lot of comparisons that can be made.
Oh yeah.
I also did a bunch of Doctor Who books, a shitload of them. Fucking probably too many. And I got some more. I got more Doctor Who books.
Very good.
Yeah. What else? Oh, You'll Be Sorry is another autobiography. That should probably have been on my top 10. It was the HBO series The Pacific.
Oh, okay.
You know how you have Private Leakey, who is one of the main characters, and then you have Eugene Sledge, who's the other main character?
Yeah.
Well, they've both written books.
Yeah, I know. Which one did Helmet for My Pillow?
That's Robert Leckie.
Right.
And then Eugene Sledge did With the Old Breed, and I'm still reading that one. It's really good. But the person who was in, I think it was Hell Company or something, who was the connective tissue between the two, was Eugene's best friend, and he was also in the same attachment as Leckie.
Right.
As a guy called Sidney Phillips, and he actually meets his wife in like Australia, and she moved to America for him at the end of the war. Well, he released a book about all his adventures and stuff.
Oh.
After they'd interviewed him about that for the HBO series.
Oh, okay.
And even there's even a few pages of Eugene Sledge's book and his book, and he's like, these, like, if you're looking for a masterpiece, like, we'll read this one, like, chapter or whatever out of my best friend's book.
Right.
But the stuff that he wrote about was really interesting. It was about the hardships of actually getting to war, the hardships of training,
right,
and like how there was so much humor in war as well. Like there's just a bunch of your best friends like waiting around for the action to happen, and the only thing you could do was to make jokes.
Yeah.
Or you'd cry, you know?
Yeah, wow.
So it was a really good book. It's called You'll Be Sorry. And that's the start of it's amazing as well. It's he's sitting there in a diner and he's like eating ice cream, and his best friend like runs in through the door and he's just like, war's been declared on Japan. It's like, we've got to go down to the office and sign up to be a Marine. And it's like, he just says that everyone remembers where they were when World War II like first kicked off, and it's like,
Is it be after the Pearl Harbor, right?
Yeah, but it's like traveling back in time and like witnessing an event.
Yeah.
That like you know. So
Cool.
yeah,
I like that.
it was really good. But it was weird that I did so many autobiographies this year. I didn't realize. I even did Nick Frost's autobiography, but I can't remember anything about it,
Right.
so I didn't put it on there. Yeah. So that's my 10 that's my top 10.
Yep.
Do you want to go into some ones that we hated and some ones that we want to like discuss? Like,
Sure.
yeah.
I saw you wrote down. I could see Jack Cloudy somewhere before.
Oh yeah. I think I did put down a few things that I didn't. Enemy of Beyond the Gates is on there as well. Though.
Really?
Yeah.
So what is that list then?
This list is things that I was thinking about, talking about things that sort of I didn't enjoy, but had good things about them.
Yeah.
Like
What's Enemy
Beyond the Gates is the second Dreno's book.
Oh, King Beyond the Gate.
King Beyond the Gates. Oh, sorry, I must have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Why?
I love that book.
You like that book? Yeah, I don't know. Like it just, there was nothing definitive about it for me. It was like there was nothing stand out. Like even the main character seemed like he could die at any point, and I wouldn't give a shit. But I don't know. It did do things well. Like the first book. Like there was moments in the book that were really good.
So I guess like I don't have a big attachment to Tanaka Khan as the main character.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's fine, but it was what was
His
his
journey
name?
and stuff.
No, it was Ananias, I think is his name, the guy with the mask, and Decado, the guy that was like the best swordsman ever, and then he was a priest for a few years, and finally like got that out of his head. Then he was thrust back into this
I
life
had
of
to become
violence.
it. Yeah, that
I
was.
just loved both of their arcs. That's what did it for me.
Yeah, I suppose so. I felt like there was like good Lancer heroes in it, where the Lancer heroes almost overshadowed the main person. So I don't know, but One for the Stars was a weird book that I did, and it's not that I didn't like it. I enjoyed it, but it fell short in a lot of places, and it was like a little bit like Jack Cloudy, where it had a really cool concept, but never stuck the landing at all.
Right.
And One for the Stars was written in like the 1920s or something by Robert A. Heinlein, and it's about twins who have telepathic abilities. They get an injection to boost their telepathic ability. So one gets shot out into space, and the other one lives on Earth. And because they're telepathic, they can broadcast information immediately, without any like radio waves.
Yeah.
And they have, I think it's like 30 pairs of telepathic people, and the further away you get in space, the more time difference it is.
Right.
So when the brother dies, the son picks up the telepathic radio waves, and then it like goes on to like the son's son, and then the niece, and all this other thing. And it was interesting finding new worlds. It was a little bit like the Bobaverse. It was like you're out in space, you're adventuring, you're finding these strange things that happen. I think there's a planet where there's like weird crab things that like fucking chomp people up and stuff, and it was like the perfect world to start a new civilization of Earth on.
Right.
But because there was these big crab things that they couldn't like live on it. They couldn't like bring themselves to eliminate another like sort of species.
Right.
It was cool, but it fell short so much, and there was no human element to it. The most human part was at the start, when the main character was going to be the one staying on Earth, but his brother ended up having a car accident and like not being able to walk. So he's like, "Oh, I've got to stay on Earth now. You got to get shot into space and go on an adventure."
Interesting.
Yeah, but like I said, it was a cool book, but it did fall flat. Bobaverse is on here as well. The Christmas Invasion was a Doctor Who book, and it was also a Doctor Who episode. That's on my weird kind of list here for talking about things because it's a Doctor Who book / episode where the Doctor is asleep the entire time and then does something 5 minutes at the end.
Okay.
So the 5 minutes or the last few chapters of the book are amazing.
Does it like the sidekick for most of the book?
Yeah, but because he's regenerated at the start and then he's like fallen asleep and he's like still regenerating, but like he can't get up or do anything.
Okay.
He's kind of like in a coma. I thought it was amazing. There was like lots of action. There's a sword fight and all this other stuff, but the whole first part of the book was boring. And I was like, why did I even get this book? Like I just like as an episode, funny. It was good, but like I didn't think about it. Like, and that's the difference where things translate from book to movie or movie to book. Yeah. It's like I said about the Bobaverse. If you turned it into a movie, it'd be a spaceship flying through space, and you'd have to have a voiceover. Like,
yeah, you would. Yeah.
So I guess these things are thinking more about story rather than anything else.
Yeah.
And one of the other things on here was Lord of the Rings. Like, I did the first book, and there were so many good things about it. And it's like the holy grail of like fantasy books for everyone, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many weird things in it. There's so many weird things that Tolkien wrote. Yeah. Make me think like what on earth was going on in his mind. And the Tom Bombadil character, like he's this weird character who like lives in a land near the Shire where everything's controlled by him, the weather's controlled by him, everything's controlled by him. He's like a miniature god in like a pocket universe.
Random. And
if you turn up there, all he wants you to do is like enjoy yourself and drink heaps and eat heaps of food and like have a great time. It's similar to like a fairy in a book where like fairies want to take you into the fairyland and like just treat you really nicely, but it was just so weird. Like there was so many weird little bits to the Lord of the Rings that like it detracted from the story all the time.
So like, have you done like all 3 books?
No, I just did the first one, the Fellowship. Yeah.
How's the point of view like? Is it? I've heard it's like more similar to like Dune's point of view, where it's not like it's like you're having a conversation, like your character's having a conversation with someone, and it like has both people's thoughts within the same scene. Yeah, it switches between.
Yeah. There is a bit of like omniscience to it, and it is quite weird in that respect because you find weird details out. Like Frodo's actually like 70 years old or something when he starts on the quest. He doesn't have any friends because when Bilbo takes off and leaves him the ring, he's there for like another 10 years in the Shire with the ring.
Oh, really?
Something like that. And like all of his friends live and die. Sam, Pippin, Merry, they're all his cousins or his gardener. And he goes on the quest with them because they look about the same age as him. They're ready for an adventure because they're all like 26, 20.
Wow.
And he's like this like 50, 60-year-old man, but he looks young because he's been holding onto the ring for so long.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So you find out these weird little things about it, but it is interesting. It's a weird kind of book. It's all over the show.
Yeah. Okay. Don't know if I might try reading Lord of the Rings at some point, but
I don't know. I don't feel like
I could easily not and be fine.
I feel like you. It's a sad thing. I feel like it's so old.
I mean, it's obviously important because it inspired a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I feel like it's like blues music. It's got a rare, like raw power to it that a lot of other genres and everything else take from it.
Right.
But you don't necessarily need to be immersed in it to get the benefits. It's like John Carter of Mars. You know?
Yeah. I thought I would think that about Dune, but I really liked it.
I'm enjoying it now. So,
question: so are you still reading Waylander, or are you gonna give it up?
I don't know. I'll have to start it again.
Do you think you would continue reading the series, or be like, nah, I'm good?
If I can't get through Waylander, I won't. Okay. I won't bother.
Alright.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But I mean, I might just check out the Druss ones.
Okay, then I won't
because
talk
the dress
about
ones
it.
are good. I don't know, but what other kind of books have we read this year that you really didn't like or you want to talk about?
Well, Jack Cloudy was definitely the worst book.
I thought it had. This is the thing. Like, I thought it had good ideas. I thought it had a fucking really rich world. Like, how often do you come across a steampunk world in these books? And it seemed to be like quite well fleshed out. It just didn't seem to
It's like
hit any of the beats, right?
book 5 or something in the series. I think they're all standalones of some sort. Yeah, I don't know. It was just janky.
Janky, yeah. Janky.
Yeah.
But what about what else did I read? I've done so many weird things. Like Star Wars books as well. Like just recently started getting back into some Star Wars books. I don't know. I feel like at this point, like the mystery about Star Wars is better than finding anything out. Like, the more you find out about Jedis and stuff, the less interested I am in them now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I've read a couple of early books about Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan.
Do you have any super memorable moments, like reading a book?
Oh yeah,
that, like,
true.
stick in your mind?
Actually, just thinking about the Star Wars one, I read the Count Dooku book this year. There's one part in it where, like, Count Dooku and his best friend are, like, saving all these people from this planet because, like, the planet's got floating, like, cities, and the cities are, like, falling down.
Right.
And they're, like, using the Force to, like, lift rocks off of people and, like, save them and stuff. And you have a city that's been crashed, and all the water from a lake is, like, pouring into the hospital and drowning people.
Right.
And, like, they have to, like, cut a hole on the side of it with, like, a lightsaber or something to, like, try and get people out. And it was a really interesting book, but it was described so well that, like, it made me realize that it was a cool part. I don't know. Yeah. What else? What about you? There's so many.
Well, the end of Gates of Fire, and the end of The Legend of Deathwalker.
The Troop, when there's the killer, the guy who's the killer in the group. I can't remember his name.
Oh yeah.
He does some freaky shit with the worms and, like, makes.
It's pretty creepy. Yeah.
That was really creepy. But, like, it was interesting, and I was like, I can't believe I'm reading this book. Like, I just can't believe it. And it was such a departure from when I first started reading it. I was totally uninterested.
Yeah.
And then I got into it, so I was quite happy for that.
Yeah, I can't elaborate on The Legend of Deathwalker without completely spoiling it.
Legend of Deathwalker. Oh, so that's one of the moments of your.
Yeah. It was...
Just tell me. I don't care.
Okay. So it starts off with Druss. He was sparring with, like, the Draenei bare knuckle champion, and the other guy, like, went a bit too hard.
Yeah.
So Druss, like, cracked him back and, like, completely knocked him out, shattered his jaw and stuff.
Shit.
So, like, Druss has to, like, fill in for him now for, like, the national championships or whatever. So he's in this other city, and he's doing pretty well, and then it's down to him and this other guy who's, like, the champion of that city. I forget the city name. And Druss is, like, wanting to dislike this guy, but he's super likable and really honourable. And there's some people who are trying to kill Druss because there's, like, this whole betting thing, like, people put a lot of money on this other guy, Clay. And these guys try and kill Druss, but he's with Clay, and, like, Clay
so it helps him out.
Yeah, and he steps in front of this crossbow that was poisoned, and, like, he gets him, and then he's fucked. And then the city goes and, like, riots and stuff. And then Druss finds out about these stones that allegedly have healing powers, and he's like, I owe Clay, I want to, like, he's like given up. He's fucked now. Like he's lost all his money and he's paralyzed and shit, and he's dying, and he feel like he owes him. So he goes off and like, although this was a really great part, like eventually he gets the stones. Like he goes through all the shit. It's like 2/3 of the book. They eventually get these healing stones, and they actually work. And it's been like a couple months. Before he leaves, he's declared like, promise me you'll make it through. Like, just give me a month. I'll get this shit, and you'll be all good. And the guy's like, yep, I'll, you know.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah. And what was the other bit? Before all this happened, I'm fucking this up.
Don't worry about it.
There was this kid, and Clay's like his biggest hero. Like he's a huge fan of Clay, and he thinks he's like a god because he
like never got knocked out or anything like that.
Well, not only that, he witnessed him save some lady who was like, she was incapacitated in somehow, and he performed like CPR on her, and she came back to life. And he saw that as like, he's like
the man. He can bring.
He's a
people
magician
back to
or
life,
whatever.
yeah.
Like, and he's like, Clay, can you help my mum? Like she's like
dying,
got some disease or something, cancer, I think.
Oh.
And he visits the boy's mum, and he's like, I'm really sorry, I can't do anything, but I can like, pay for better care and stuff, but that's all I can really do. And the kid's like really upset because now like his mum's still dying, and now his hero is like not what he thought he was.
Oh man.
Anyway, so they go through all that. Druss gets the stones and comes back.
I can see where this is going.
Yeah. He comes back, and he goes to the hospital or whatever, and he goes to like the head doctor or whatever, and like, I'm here for the stones, I can heal Clay. And he's like, he died like 2 days after you left. Like, yeah.
Shit.
And he's pissed off, and Druss is like pissed off about it. He's like, why did this happen? He should have lived. He promised me and all this shit. And then
the kid comes in.
Yeah, the kid comes in. Or no, they go to the kid, and they heal his mum.
To find out that...
Yeah. No, and she's all good now. And he's like, this is like a last gift from Clay. Clay did this. And I was just like, it was so good. I loved it.
Yeah.
Because it like, there's so much, I don't know, like, so much detail is like, even, like, they won the battle and all that stuff, but like, this kid getting his hero back, and obviously his mum's...
Oh, wow, okay.
It's like, yeah, they brought Clay back up as this kid's hero, even though he died. It was just like, I don't know.
That's cool. It's like the idea of him lived on. The idea of that he was like this magical guy. That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah, I loved it. It was yeah.
Obviously, it had some kind of effect. If it must have been written well.
Yeah, it was cool.
What else? What else was really memorable for this year? For a book that you were reading, what was something that was really cool?
What else was there? Well, one that was really disappointing was the second of the new Thrawn trilogy, Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
I DNF'd it after a few hours. Just because I really liked the first one, but the second one was just like half following Anakin with Thrawn as a flashback.
Oh, okay.
And it was just the whiny Anakin. I was just, I'm interested. But I might give the original Thrawn trilogy a go. I've heard that's a lot better.
Yeah, definitely go for it. I heard he's going to be in the new like Star Wars stuff. I don't know.
Well, he's name dropped by some lady.
Or whatever. Yeah, like what else? What else for me? What else was really, really good? I started doing a Star Wars book on a Star Trek book the other day. It was really cool. It was about this like Vulcan with like telepathic powers, and like his students come back to see him die, because it's like in this weird culture where if you're a telepathic wizard, like you train your apprentice, and then the apprentice goes off to travel the world and like do whatever they want to learn, and then they come back to the master and tell the master what they've learned.
Okay.
And it's he's gotten to the point where he's trained him, he's gone out into the world, but now that apprentice has created his own cult, and he's coming back to the master to like knock him off and kill him, but he's on his deathbed already.
Right.
And I don't know how it ties into the rest of the Star Trek stuff, but it's really awesome so far.
Nice.
And the way it was described is like he's walking along this like red like desert, and there's like a sandstorm, and like he's using like his telepathic powers to like cut like a doorway into it and stuff. That's really cool.
The book I'm reading at the moment, Kings of Paradise, it's really good. Like, one of the main characters is like this deformed kid who it's kind of like,
you like always go for the dark stuff. You love everything that's dark. You love.
He's almost like American Psycho meets what's the one? It's like a horror movie where like the guy's really close with his mum, not like in a sexual way, but like just in a like.
Yeah, it was Psycho, wasn't it?
Oh,
Bates,
Psycho. Yeah.
The Bates Hotel and stuff.
Yeah, sorry. So he's kind of like got some of that going on. Like he has quite a close relationship with his mum. They're set in like a medieval fantasy world.
Yeah.
And he's quite young as well. Like he's only like 15 or something. But he's like grown up, and his mum's the only person he's known. And she's like kind of, I guess, brainwashed him a little bit.
Yeah.
And basically, she dies off, and he goes off and does his own things, like outcast from the land, because he's got all this facial weird stuff going on. But he's like a genius as well, and the way it's described, like he has what he calls his grove, but he can like, it's almost kind of like the Bobaverse stuff with the VR, but it's all in his head. So like,
Mind Palace.
He can
stuff.
like train and stuff in his head. And he can like use that to gain more experience and things, because it's all in his head. It's like sped up compared to real time.
That's cool. That's it's a little bit like this thing happens in The Name of the Wind. I can't remember the guy's name. Patrick someone.
Rothfuss.
Patrick Rothfuss. Yeah. He like. A bunch of shit happens, and the main character ends up going out into the bush, and he plays like his lute or whatever, and he learns how the air, and he learns how like the leaves sound, and he learns how all these like different things in nature make sound.
Right.
So he learns how to play the lute really, really good, because he understands how things make sound.
Okay.
And it gets to the point where like all the strings break but one, and he can play that one string. He can play all the different notes on it because he understands how sound works.
Wow.
And he becomes like a really good lute player. But it's just a weird part of that book. Like, it doesn't have any bearing on anything else, really.
Interesting. That's on my TBR. I don't know when I'll read it, but
go for it. I think the third book's coming out this year, eh? Oh, next year.
I don't know about that.
I heard it was coming out this year.
I mean, it'd be good, but
the two books are amazing though. Like, the second book was really good as well.
Yeah.
I think like, even if it doesn't end, I don't really care. Like, I got what I enjoyed out of it.
That's I wish a lot of people thought like that, because I'm following like the fantasy Facebook group.
Yeah.
And a few other ones. People are like so negative towards like
People
unfinished series.
Yeah.
Like Scott Lynch's one, and George R.R. Martin, for example. It's like, you should be able to enjoy the books on their own, even if the story isn't complete. Like, they're still fun to read.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I guess I love that a story is fun to read, but I guess I'm also someone who is not really much of an apologist for someone who has a book and then ends it just so you can read the next book.
Mm.
And I know that, like, I got you into the Arisen series, and that's basically the whole thing. It's like one big story cut up into segments of books.
Yeah,
but
it definitely is.
I felt there was so much action and so much shit going on in each individual one that you got something out of it.
Yeah.
I know it pushed you on to doing the next one, but that's also one of the fastest book I've ever read. Like, I think it was like the 14th book or whatever came out.
Right.
And I fucking absorbed it in a day, less than a day. Yeah. And it was because I just wanted to know what was happening and wanted to know what the next beats were.
A lot of them I got through really quick.
Yeah,
I think I'm up to book 9.
Book 9.
Yeah.
It starts to speed up, and when you get to the end, the story gets better as well. There's a few in the centre there that are just kind of filler, but they're good for character development.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So...
I just thought of it's a dark and fucked up moment in one of the Harry Hole books.
Yeah.
I don't think I've talked about it. So
yeah, are there any parts in books that like have made you second guess and be like, "Whoa, this is weird," or like, you know?
Yeah, this. Basically, there's this killer from like Eastern European country that's come into Oslo, Norway, and now he's on the run, and he has no, because you follow his point of view as well as like Harry's and some other people.
Oh yeah.
And like so earlier on in the book, he goes into this restaurant and he gets hit on by a gay guy.
Yeah.
I talked about this? I can't remember.
No, I don't think so.
And he's like, "Oh, that's weird," and then he leaves. And then like later on, he's like lost his gun, he has no money, he's like slept in this old decrepit house, and it's like winter and he's like freezing, and then he woke up and he realised he slept in frozen piss that's now like
thawed out.
Yeah. Oh. He's just like fucking at his wit's end. So he goes back to this guy that hit on him. He's not gay, but he's like, this is my only person I can like go to.
Oh god.
And the fucking guy drugs him and like ties him up and like fucks him in the ass, and then he wakes up and he's got like cum on his back and stuff.
Oh wow.
And then he gets out of his handcuffs and fucking just like, I think he kills the guy.
Wow.
It was just like, holy shit.
How, like a bit of revenge though,
yeah,
like a bit of like that's a
crazy.
terrible thing that happened to that guy, but like it's
well, he's on the good guy.
Yeah, he's a bad guy, so
it was nuts.
I thought the whole like vagina birthing a bloody ship, and Jack Cloudy was out of it.
Oh,
fucking weird.
I mean, definitely thought outside the box for that, but
there was so many weird thoughts there. There's so many weird stuff in it. Like the whole like transgender thing was interesting, but like,
oh yeah, that's right.
Like
his missus became the.
It was a weird
rival.
statement though, right? Like it was a weird thing. I was like, as a writer, you want to sort of, you can even the playing field, or you can create these questions that need to be asked. Like, do like women deserve to have the right to vote, the right to vote or whatever? They have the forum to question or say whatever they want to.
Yeah.
But I felt like he had a great idea about the whole transgender thing, but then he just slapped it back onto the same mentality. Like, she couldn't do it as a woman, so she turned herself into a man to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you have a great forum. Why didn't she turn herself into a man to show everyone that's what the world listened to, then turned herself back into a woman? Or she wasn't actually a man, she just made herself look like a man or something like that, you know? There need to be some clinching factor to it, but there wasn't.
Yeah.
Something binding, you know? But yeah, lots of cool ideas. Interesting. Lots of weird stuff. Read a lot of weird books, a lot of weird things.
Yeah.
Everything else. That part where the creepy murderer guy in The Troop was called Shelley. I just remember now.
Oh yeah, okay.
He was pulling a tapeworm out of a fucking dog's bum, and he was like creepily like masturbating over it or whatever, and he was like too young to, because they weren't only boys, they were only like 10-year-old boys or something.
Yeah,
like, he was too young to like know what that was. That was ugh.
Yeah.
That did my head in.
Yeah, I've bought The Deep, which is not connected, but
oh, okay.
another novel by
Nick Carter.
Nick Carter.
Yeah, we'll do that, I think.
Yeah.
But also there was like a kid in the troop, and his relationship with his mum was weird.
Oh, was that the nerdy one?
Yeah, the nerdy one. Otter or something, yeah, something weird. They gave him a nickname.
Shit, I can't remember. I can only remember Ephraim or whatever.
Ephraim, yeah.
He was like the
angry one.
Yeah, aggressive. Yeah.
But I thought that book. The thing it did well is that it really did disclose the characters, like intentions, and created a good arc in a way. Like in a lot of this fantasy books that we see or read, like there's a collection of people, but you don't really know them. It's like you have to go on these full long explanation journeys and everything else, and you have to see more than one action to sort of understand anything. And I felt that the troop really cut a lot of meat out and explained things in a way where you got the full character of that person easily. I'd like to see Nick Cutter like do a version of Lord of the Flies, because the Lord of the Flies was one of those books that made me think as well. And I think that maybe this year that's the thing that I didn't really get out of reading. Like I wanted to get that book that made me question something, where I was like, oh shit, I never saw this guy being the murderer, or I never saw this thing happening, and then all of a sudden it turns out that like he wasn't even in love with this person, like they were wrong the entire time, and they were actually doing something wrong. You know, I don't think I got those shock moments, and then maybe it was the books that we were reading. But it's something to look forward to next year. It's something to think about and keep going on with. Stories are amazing. We love stories. We love doing all this stuff. So,
do you have some books that you do want to do this year? Not even for like this, but just
I was going to suggest a few today actually. Jumper, the movie Jumper.
Oh,
I have the book, and like I've read part of it, and
was the movie based off of the book, or was
I think the book maybe? Oh no, I think the movie was based on the book. Yeah, because I think it's a bit of a series, but I'm not too sure. You can't get the Audible of it, I don't think.
Right.
But I just managed to pick up a book of it somewhere, and it was weird. It's got one of those moments where you're like, oh, this is a bit weird. Like, after. It's not like really a spoiler if you've seen the film or whatever. Cause
I've seen it's been a while, but I've seen the film.
It's like quite towards the start, so it's like the start's very similar to the movie. So he's teleported for the first time, and he's teleported away somewhere, and he has a bad relationship with his dad, right?
Yeah. So
he's running away from home, and he goes to a truck stop, and he asks for like a ride. And the truckers are all like macho men, but they try and rape him.
Oh god! And
like then he teleports to like the only safe place he knows, which is like the library or something again. And it was like this weird scene where like was that necessary to be in? Like, but it was like I just thought, where was the story going, and like how different is it from the actual movie? Because none of that stuff was in the movie. Like,
I don't remember that.
So I wouldn't mind seeing where this book goes, not because of the weird stuff, but because like, hey, the love story between him and whoever the female lead could be cool. Maybe there isn't even one at all. You know, like they change movies so much from the original source material.
Yeah.
But Jumper was one book that I wanted to read. I also have a Hellblazer book, a John Constantine novel.
Oh, okay.
I picked it up at a Wickles for like $5, like probably 10 years ago.
Wow.
And I found it the other day. I was like, oh, I'm gonna read this. So, and it was when Hellblazer was basically the only thing keeping Vertigo Comics going.
Right.
And they'd made I think they had made the Constantine film.
Yeah.
And the culture was like getting into Constantine because they really liked the film, but then people were having this weird feeling about the character being British as well. He is British in the book. But it's like, again, jumping back to the source material, people were shocked, like, oh, I didn't know that Constantine was supposed to be British, you know?
Yeah.
So it's good to read that and see where that goes.
Yeah.
Malice, I want to finish Malice. I started reading that.
How far are you into that?
I think I've only done a chapter or so.
Right.
So, like, I don't even know if the first chapter's even set up or anything, because it seemed you when you asked me where I was last time, you're like having a hard time remembering who the character was or something at the start. So I'm wondering whether that was just like set up.
I think it's just a bit of Corbin at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Apart from the very beginning, which was that Everness with the cauldron and stuff.
Yeah, is that set up? Is that just like prehistory stuff or something?
Yeah, that will there'll be more of that later on that explains it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I don't know. There is some books that I do want to read, and I don't know. I think I want to be a little bit more diverse because I feel like there's certain books that gravitate to me because I have an interest in them. Like the fantasy books, I have an interest in that. The zombie books, I have an interest in that. Not that I really like zombies, I'm afraid of them, but they gauge some kind of like reaction. They gauge some kind of like fear thing, you know. So maybe pick a few weird books, pick a few different books that I wouldn't normally go into this year, and I think that I want to see where that goes.
Fair enough.
I think definitely maybe try one of those Harry Hole books. Like I know I did start doing one. What was it? The Bat. I think reading one's probably going to be better. That's why I got that one off you, eh? So I'll probably read it and see how I feel about it then. And yeah. What about you? Is there any books that you want to read?
Well, I mean there are heaps, but it's really the order of them, and I try not to plan too much. But I do want to read Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence. Seems like quite grimdark fantasy. Go figure.
Yeah.
What else? Definitely finished The Faithful and the Fallen. I've just started Ruin, which is the third book.
Should we do some thing on that if I finish one?
Yeah, definitely.
Do a video.
And John Gwynne has a new series, the first book coming out next year, which I've pre-ordered. What else? Stephen Pressfield has a book coming out next year. Man at Arms. It's like some Roman soldier or something. Get that. I guess I'll just probably try and tie off a lot of stuff, like finish Draenei.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
You don't want to like work out so you like wheelhouse at all. You don't want to like do something like, I don't know, a romance or something like that, or do something that's a little bit different.
If it sounds interesting, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. No, I'm not trying to force you to do anything. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You've got like 10 series on the go, man. From the look of that thing, like you've got like.
I think I'm probably more than that.
You should finish your Arisen as well. Do a Arisen one.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be good.
Arisen's kind of cool. I don't know.
I just got burnt out because I like read heaps of them all at once.
Yeah.
So I took a bit of a break with that. What else? Yeah, there's too much. I'll probably start Trouble with Peace early next year. Really like to read the sequel to Child 44.
Child 44, yeah. Actually, I like the sound of that. That's why I wrote that one down, I think. So,
yeah, it was really fun.
I liked a couple of ideas. So, Grey Bastard was cool.
Yeah.
The Legend of Drizzt, I had a little go on. I thought that was interesting.
Did you read the first one and the second one? Or?
I did the first one, I'm pretty sure. Right. But I can't remember anything that happened. I remember there's like a big lizard that he rides and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's all in the dark. The Underdark. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Any books that you wanna hoping will come out. So obviously the Patrick Rothfuss one for me. And I think that Scott Lynch.
Yeah, Thorn of Emberlane. That'd be nice if that came out.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind it.
Especially with the cliffhanger at the end of Republic of Thieves with the
tongue
spinning silver or whatever. What was it called? Yeah. Fuck. Yeah. I do have a lot of series on the go. Soon I'll do the Rift War number 3 actually.
Oh yeah. Do you feel like because do you feel like all these books, because like you're doing series of them, and do you compare them, or do you think that like a standalone book is better than some of these other ones, or like and how do you see like those processes being like, if someone came up to you and said, I want you to recommend me a book, would you immediately jump into a series?
I mean, I would go with Legend if I was going to just anyone a book. Legend, because I think that has something in it for everyone.
Yeah,
like,
I thought it was good.
Bit of romance, bit of action, bit of like magic, heartbreak, all that stuff.
That's a genuine.
And that is which I actually really like about the Draenei series is they all are kind of standalones.
Yeah.
And they're all interconnected, and there are a few trilogies in there, but it's not like a Song of Ice and Fire or something where like you can't like you could read the second Druss novel or the third one and still get a whole story.
Yeah.
And still know what's going on. You might miss out like 5% of like the backstory or why he's like that or whatever. Yeah, there's pros and cons to standalones and series.
Yeah.
I guess standalones are more, you get everything in one go, and it's like usually resolved and everything's good, and that's it. In a series, you have to like put in the work to know the characters and all that stuff, but usually there's more payoff.
That's why I think you should do Ready Player 2 and then tell me how you feel.
Okay.
Because it's a continuation of something that to me felt standalone, and I felt like that a lot of people got upset with it.
Yeah, that's what I've heard as well. Yeah.
But I don't want to like get into it too much.
Fair enough. Yeah.
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 Sounds good.
Year of reading. Probably dial down the fantasy if I can a little bit next year. I want to do more sci-fi.
Cool. And then should we do a comic next year?
It's like the less effort as well.
Yeah, less effort.
Well.
Yeah. I actually did a lot of comics this year too.
Yeah.
I did the Invincible series. I did the Boys series.
Oh, nice.
Did most of it anyway. I think there's like one or two that I haven't done, but awesome books. I also did a shit ton of like Green Lantern and stuff like that. So I don't know, weird stuff. I did some Jonah Hex as well. After we talked about it in one of those other ones, I went and did some. There's what else? What other comics have I done? Oh, you should do Jupiter's Legacy.
Oh yeah,
that's good. It's going to come out as a Netflix
Mark
series.
Miller,
yeah, that guy's good.
Nice.
All right.
Cool. Yeah.
Sweet. End of the year. We've done it.